Over the past few months, leading up to the presidential election and the subsequent Senate runoffs in Georgia, I have criticized many politicians in the Democratic Party on their strategies not working. Whether it's criticizing Joe Biden for neoliberalism, which unfortunately the party believes works and believes is good, even though it doesn't appeal to the average American because Joe Biden has ascended to the Oval Office and they're going to continue to think it works. So I've criticized that. I criticized the left for not using their power enough, not, say, forcing the vote, for instance, or getting some type of concession for their vote. I even criticized Bernie Sanders for not putting the nail in Joe Biden's coffin and not playing hardball when he needed to win the nomination. But above all this, one thing I have not done is criticize the Republican strategy for getting elected. And I've done it to some degree. I don't want to say I haven't done it, but I've done it to some degree, but not very much. So today I decided to make a video on Kelly Loeffler. Now, obviously, Kelly Loeffler lost her runoff election to Raphael Warnock and basically put the nail in the GOP's coffin as far as having a majority for at least the next 2 years in either house. So the Democrats now have a majority in the House and the Senate. But what I think what's not being talked about enough is why she lost. We've talked about why Warnock wins, but we haven't talked about why she lost and what doesn't work. So this is a clip from her debate. And a couple clips, actually, a compilation. And we're going to see why her strategy failed, and then we're going to talk about it. Roll the clip.
Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock. My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock. 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 Radical liberal Raphael Warnock.
Now, what did she say here? She said, radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Radical liberal Raphael Warnock. You know what? I want to play a game with my friends and just be like, hey guys, let's watch this debate. Every time she says radical liberal Raphael Warnock, you have to take a shot. And let's just see how fucked up we get, right? But, yeah, so this strategy does not work. Clearly, she lost the election. And David Perdue did a similar thing where he's like, radical liberal Jon Ossoff, or Jon Ossoff in the radical left, which is hilarious because Jon Ossoff is the epitome of a centrist Republican. He's just like Joe Biden, you know, as far as like his approach to politics. Now, you know, I'm not going to say he's just like Joe Biden because I don't know where he would stand on like issues like war and stuff. But as far as the way he runs his campaign and the things that he wants to do, he's very, very, very much that neoliberal, modern Republican style politician that is Joe Biden or Barack Obama, for instance, or even Bill Clinton. So, yeah, I don't understand calling him radical. But anyway, Raphael Warnock, it made a little more sense to call him radical because he was anti-establishment. But this is what the Republican and the GOP don't realize. People love this stuff. People love it. Now, what they do is they play with language a lot, right? If, like, when they say, the average American, how do you feel about socialism? Ooh, socialism. Most people say, nah, I don't like socialism. I like, capitalism. But when you say, how do you feel about universal health care or health care for everyone as a right? They say, yeah, sure. When you say, how do you feel about universal basic income? A lot more people now are, I'm not going to say it's the majority belief yet, but a lot more people say, hey, I think this could materially help me. When you talk about forgiving student loans, overwhelmingly, people support forgiving student loans, or at least forgiving a portion of student loans. So barring universal basic income, these are popular positions. And even universal basic income has gained popularity in the last couple of years. No one was talking about it. Andrew Yang came out and supported it. Now people talk about it. And during a pandemic, I should say universal income is popular during a pandemic because the $2,000 stimulus checks is a form of universal basic income. So when you say someone's radical left, People are like, oh, radical change? Oh, that's great. I need radical change. You know, I lost my business. I'm unemployed. My life sucks. I need somebody who's going to radically change things. So saying that someone's a radical left, radical liberal, or just slapping a socialist name on someone like Joe Biden, someone who you don't like, so you just say, oh, he's a socialist. That does not work. They tried doing that with the Biden. They lost. Biden won the popular vote by 8 million votes. 8 million. Incredible. 8 million. He won the popular vote. He got more votes than Obama. So that just shows you how well that Republican strategy works. Now, when it comes to Raphael Warnock, you know, they tried to say he's a radical socialist. He said, listen, I want to help people. I want to give $2,000 checks. He got elected. Big surprise. Kelly Loeffler was against $2,000 checks until Donald Trump said, I think $600 is ridiculous. We need $2,000 checks. And if you don't hurry up and say $2,000 checks right now, I won't give you your support. Oh, yes, master. Whatever you need, Master Trump. $2,000 checks. Fake populism. Yeah, you know. So, of course, but before she did that, before she capitulated to Trump's desire to give people $2,000 checks, she was previously against it. Also, David Perdue, let's not forget, this man voted against the first stimulus. And he voted against the 600. This man doesn't support any stimulus. At all. None. And then with Trump, he's like, well, yeah, $2,000 checks, I guess, because, you know, I kind of have to support it because I need Trump to win. And he still lost, which is funny. You know, it's like, you know, you cuck up to President Trump and you still lose. I mean, look at Ted Cruz. Prime example of somebody, like, you'll never get any cool points, bro. Like, just give it up. But I digress. So, yeah, this strategy of calling people radical liberals, radical left, communist, socialist, people aren't buying it, man. People just aren't buying it. It's a pandemic. People need two things. One, healthcare and income. And whoever's going to provide them healthcare and income is who they'll vote for. So, like, the idea that Raphael Warnock is a radical liberal who hates America and he's Fidel Castro or he's Stalin and Stalin reincarnated. This is ridiculous, okay? Or, oh, he wants to turn Georgia into Nicaragua. Come on, man. Nicaragua. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize, but come on, man. This is ridiculous. You know, like, it's so ridiculous. Like, calling these people radical socialists or radical liberals. Oh my, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's why? Because during a time of struggle, people want radical change. That's what they want. So, if there are any Republicans here who are listening, please change your strategy because this is actually no. Please keep your strategy right the way it is so that more liberals can get in power and we can actually see some change in this country. Because and what I don't understand is, like, you know, if you're a conservative who's like, oh, we need to balance the budget, or that's fine. But if you're a conservative who's like, we need to keep things the way they are at all costs, I don't think anyone's going to buy into that because it's obvious on both sides of the aisle right now, as far as the voters, that we need some radical change and we need reforms. And if you're not going to bring those reforms, you're not going to win elections. So there you have it. Why Kelly Loeffler failed and why the Republican Party is failing and falling apart.